Greetings, unsettled souls. That's my song. I did that. You're listening to the correct views, friends. Let me redo that. Much better. We can't start the show off like that. Friends, you're listening to the correct views. I am Sam, I beat the Gangi, in danger of getting my own Dunce cap award, I am afraid, as I try to start the show here. If you see that I am still in the library, I am, because I still have no internet in my studio. This show and everything associated with it has been in financial hell. If you'd like to donate to the show, please do so at thecorrectviews@hotmail.com. You can do it through PayPal. And when you do it, I can go back into my studio and you won't be looking at such a terrible background environment. I do want to get to this because I've got a double header today. I don't know if you guys know it, but I wasn't able to do the Dunce cap of the month last month for reasons that I just talked about. So there are two Dunce caps going out here, and we're going to get to them right away. Listen to this. And this one doesn't win the Dunce Cap of the Month award, but you can definitely see why it makes the show. We do have a couple runners up here that are more than worthy of being on the show. How about that? I promise you. How about the guest speaker who accidentally shows porn during a high school assembly? Yep. I wrote about this for the Conservative Daily Post, but I went with the AOL article. Chesterfield County, Virginia, because it's shorter and I'm in a hurry. A guest speaker was removed from a high school assembly Monday morning after an inappropriate image appeared on a large screen at the beginning of his presentation. Middle Thorns High School principal Sean Abel said in a message to parents the image was pornographic in nature, according to people who were in the room during the Career Pathways program assembly. They are a Christian group, by the way, which makes it guaranteed that he would be mentioned on the Dunce Cap of the Month award. Who's with me on this? The image came from the mobile drive provided by outside speaker. The guest speaker was immediately removed from the assembly, and the remainder of the event went on as planned, Abel said. Like you, I am very concerned that a distraction caused by an outside speaker would become the focus of an otherwise important conversation for our students. We will redouble our efforts when we coordinate efforts with the outside speakers, including screening presentations at the time. The Career Pathways program was attended by the school's sophomore class, so 10th graders got quite an eyeful. Multiple students said after the inappropriate image appeared, the guest speaker threw his hands up and said, "That's not mine." The room, it's not mine. Somebody stole my computer. I swear. He said the room fell silent for a few seconds because no one could really tell what was going on. I looked at it again, and I was still really confused. Then I was like, oh, and they shut it off and took the guy away, and basically that was it. I think that the school did a really good job in that they handled it emailing the parents instead of letting them find out through us, said Williams, the student. In a statement to CBS 6, Bonds DeCours apologized for the incident and noted that an employee had been placed on administrative leave. And there is a look at their full statement. I'm not going to read it, but if you wish to screenshot it, you can read it yourself. There it is. Now, friends, I was a little bit softer on this gentleman, no pun intended, than I would have normally been for someone that does that. And I'll tell you why. He who is guilty, may you cast the first stone. If you've never watched porn, then fine. If you have, you know that a lot of times, particularly on phones and mobile devices, if you don't clear what you just watched, it's the first thing that comes up. Again, I think people that do nothing but watch porn are kind of creepy, but I'm not going to sit here in front of this camera and pretend to you that that could have never happened to me in my life. It's a bold-faced lie. Just the same, if it did, I would expect somebody to put me on the Dunce Cap of the Month award show. Listen to this, guys. A few more stories to get to as the idiocy continues. IB Times, International Business Times. 15 teenagers contract rabies after raping a donkey in Mexico. So they raped him, I guess, and it wasn't consensual. That might sound funny, but if you look up the very disturbing documentary from Vice News, then you will see that not only did the gentleman in the video have sex with the donkey, he snuggles with the donkey afterwards. And there are girls in the town, ladies, saying, well, I don't mind that they do this. They have to learn the birds and the bees somehow, as long as they stop when they're married. Okay, so for all of you not donkeyly inclined, In a shocking incident, 15 teenagers were treated for rabies after they repeatedly sexually assaulted an infected donkey in the Moroccan town. Now, so maybe if he wasn't infected, he would have been, been down with it. According to the Moroccan daily Al Akbar newspaper, the news of the teenagers raping the donkey has left their families in distress and horror. Authorities believe that the number of people infected could be higher, and families might have taken their children to the vaccination outside their locality because of fear and shame. I bet they did. Local authorities are also trying to find out if there were other people who admired or approached the donkey in order to avoid the risk of spreading rabies locally. The teens gang raping the donkey, the gang raping gangbang of a donkey, you're here on the correct views, soon went viral and became a subject of mockery among people of the small town. The report even claimed that the local authorities have ordered the owner of the animal to kill it so that no further risks are there of spreading the disease, because it must be, I guess, that attractive. Rabies is now a deadly virus, of course, that is spread through an infected animal scratches, bites, or otherwise, and it goes on to tell what rabies is. We already know. We also know what people that like to screw donkeys are, and in this case, they're not just a little bit off center. They are infected, in fact, with rabies. If you're watching, other people are watching, and this could be where your ad is. Right now, I could be talking about your ad. Would you like that to happen? Get a hold of me at thecorrectviews@hotmail.com, and I will make sure that it does. We do have a couple more stories to get to. Story, as a matter of fact, and the last two are the Dundee winners. A UN diplomat, a New York Post, falls to his death from the balcony after a trust game goes wrong, according to the police. Now, I didn't give this the Dunce Cap of the Month award. I also wrote about this at the Conservative Daily Post. I didn't give this the winner of the Dunce Cap of the Month award because I've played the trust game. I'm sure you have. I don't really like mocking people that died, even when they're stupid. But he was out drinking, out partying, out having some fun, and unfortunately, it cost him his life. I'm going to get to it because I think it's one of the most interesting stories, because you think that when people get to this level of success that this kind of childish tomfoolery dies out. Well, it doesn't. In it too, so I'm preaching to no one. A game of trust took a deadly turn for an Australian diplomat who plunged to his death from his Manhattan balcony early Wednesday during a night of boozing with friends and his wife, police sources said. Julian Simpson, 30, fell from the 7th floor to a 2nd floor landing in the Clinton Street building where he lived on the Lower East Side around 1:35 a.m., sources said. Simpson was playing a trust game with a male pal when he accidentally fell. "I will prove it to you that you can trust me. Let's play the trust game," said Simpson, 24. Basically, earlier in the night, he had been dancing with someone's wife high up above the city as they were admiring the Empire State Building. He was swinging a female friend's wife around. And when they were inside, of course, the man was approached by the lady's husband. So to prove to the husband that he could trust him, Simpson suggested playing the trust game, in which Simpson would lean back on the ledge and trust the man to catch him before he would fall. Simpson jumped up to the balcony railing that sat on facing the apartment before he fell backwards. So in other words, the other guy never even had a chance to catch him. He fell just trying to get up to play the game. And investigators say that no foul play was suspected. All of them interviewed had a heavy reeking of alcohol on their breath. And again, I don't think I'm talking to anybody who has not been in that situation before. But hey, let's remember, even though we're talking about the Dunce Cap of the Month award show, that sometimes our dumb activities can actually kill us. Let's make sure that's not the case, okay? And that brings us to our Dunce Cap of the Month award winners. That's right, there are 2 winners today. That is because I was not able to get the Dunce Cap of the Month out last month. I had a printer die and everything else happened to me. So I'm going to have to give 2 today. They're for the last 2 months. Of course, they're always a month behind. So this is for October and November, because December's Dunce Cap can't be given until December is over. That makes sense. If it doesn't, let me know, and I will mail you a Dunce Cap as I explain it. Fox News, sickly Ohio death row inmate will get a special red-shaped pillow to help him breathe during his execution. A sick Ohio inmate will receive a red-shaped pillow to die on. Alvin Campbell, 69, a death row prisoner who has argued that he is too ill for lethal injection, is slated to die in injection on Wednesday. Campbell has severe chronic obstructive pulmonary disorder, and as a result of the decades-long pack-a-day smoking habit that he has. Campbell's attorneys say he uses a walker, relies on a colostomy bag, that is very sad, requires 4 breathing treatments a day, and may have lung cancer. They have asked the Supreme Court to stop Wednesday's execution because of poor health, and the motion was opposed by the state. The attorneys warned Campbell's death could become a spectacle if guards are unable to find suitable veins to stick the man's arms with. Dr. James McWeeny noted that there was no objective findings as increased pulse rate of breathing to corroborate Campbell's anxiety. However, he recommended allowing Campbell to lay on a semi-recumbent position during the execution. Earlier this month, Campbell lost his bid to not be killed, and a prison department spokesman, Joe Ellen Smith, said on Monday that Campbell's medical condition and history are being assessed and considered in order to identify any necessary accommodation or contingencies for his execution. The man has a long arrest record. In 1967, when he was only 19 years old, he shot a state trooper, and he was paroled in 92 after serving 20 years. In 97, he was shot during a robbery, faked being paralyzed, and was even driven to Franklin County's court, being on several armed robbery charges. So, of course, now he's getting his day in justice, a day of justice, and some people are very, very much up in arms over it. So you're going to wonder who I'm giving the Dunce Cap of the Month award to, and you're hoping that I'm not giving it to a dead man. I'm not. Here is what I wrote. This is the first of 2 Dunce Caps. You'll get to see the other one in a moment. I'll be printing these as soon as I can get near a printer since mine died, but you can see the Dunce Cap of the Month award goes to the Republican Ohio Governor, John Kasich, who denied clemency for Alva Campbell, which makes sense, only to then have the state issue the man a special pillow that he could breathe properly on as the state stopped his breathing with lethal injection. Certainly, I'm going to have to fix some of these typos, but I made it quickly. Certainly, we all live in a world where the death sentence is carried out in a humane fashion, but to decide upon this course of action gives us at the Correct Views no choice but to give you the Dunce Cap of the Month award. Again, don't mind the typos in it. I hurried up and typed it before I went live. And there is still a Dundee to get to. We're doing 2. I've got people tuning in, and you've made it in time to hear the absolute stupidest person win. You tuned in at the absolute perfect freaking time. Get ready for the dumbest person of the month as you all tune in. I'm so happy you tuned in now because you haven't missed the ending. The award winner is, and accidentally shoots himself and his wife in church while discussing a recent church shooting. A husband and his wife pair was accidentally shot in a Tennessee church after discussing church shootings with members of place of worship. Elder members at the First United Methodist Church in Tellico Plains got together for Thanksgiving dinner on Thursday, during which they talked about the November 5th massacre in Sutherland, Texas, where 25 people died, including an unborn child. When police asked if any of the guests had brought a gun to their church, an unidentified man in his 80s told the group that I carry my handgun everywhere. And according to a retelling of the incident by the Tellico Plains Chief Police Russ Parks, somebody else walked up and said, "Can I see it?" Parks said. He pulled it back and said, "With his loaded indicator, I can tell it's not loaded." The man pulled the trigger to prove that it wasn't loaded, and he just forgot that he had rechambered the weapon, Parks said. After it went off, the gun owner hit himself in the hand and his wife, who was also in her 80s, in the abdomen. The couple was transported to the University of Tennessee Medical Center by helicopter for non-threatening injuries, according to Parks. I just want to let everyone know that there was a shooting in the town today, but it was not an active shooter situation. It was an accidentally discharged fire gun, according to the Tellico Plains Police Department. No other people have been harmed in the incident. While that is absolutely wonderful news, I am going to get to you exactly what I wrote regarding it because I know you guys want to hear exactly what they're getting mailed, and you're going to. Here it is. The Dunce Cap of the Month Award goes to the gentleman at the First United Methodist Church who managed to shoot both himself and his spouse with a gun that is said to have always carried with him. It seems that show and tell is not working very well at the church. I wrote, still, since the error is human, don't be too upset with this month's victory. At least someone is thinking ahead enough to protect our nation's Second Amendment. However, in the event that your church is planning to put on an Easter play, please make sure that the man cast in the role of Jesus has ample health insurance if this gunman is going to be working on any part of it. My friend and guitar player Chris Burr thought that may have been his favorite Dunce Cap yet. Friends, thank you for listening. If you like it, don't log off yet. Wait till I'm done, leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of it. Please donate at the correct views at hotmail.com because it helps me immensely when you do. You can do so through PayPal. Good night, friends. God bless, and thank you for listening.